Hi, and welcome back to Walking Bass Lines for Guitar. This is John Horne. Today is part 3. We're going to be learning how to walk a blues in the key of C. This is a jazz blues. If you're used to playing more traditional styles of blues where it's pretty much just a 1, 4, and 5 chord, you'll see a few other things in here. I'm not going to go through all the theory of why these particular chords work or why they're inserted into the blues. Just enjoy them and play them for now. If you do have questions, please feel free to contact me and I'll address them in a future video. Okay? So our walking bass line, I will point out a couple of things that are new here. In our last examples, we played a C major 9 chord. To make this sound a little bluesy, we're going to play a C dominant 9 chord. The chord shapes are on the page for you. Also, if you learn the last 2 videos, if you learn those basic concepts, you'll see that we have a 1, 6, 2, 5, starting in measure 7, where the chords last for 4 beats apiece. So something that we already know. And then our last 2 measures of the first chorus of blues is a turnaround. Again, a 1, 6, 2, 5 in the key of C, but the chords change every 2 beats. This is the only difference is here is that we're using this C7 instead of the C major 7. But otherwise, something that we already have under our belts. And most of the other chord changes that we have, in fact, are very similar distance-wise. Oftentimes, we're going to be moving up a 4th or down a 5th. So a lot of our targeting examples are going to work just the same way. One new thing I'd like to point out, on bar 5 and 6, we have 2 measures of F13. Sometimes it's difficult to know how to target a chord when you have 2 bars of the same thing. One thing that we do very often when we have a situation is to target the 5th of that chord on the 2nd bar. So for example, on measure 5, you'll see that I have an F13 chord, and I'm walking down to the 5th of that chord before I walk back to the root of the next chord. So just kind of alternating targeting the root and then the 5th when we have lots of the same chord is a good practice to have. That'll happen in our second chorus of blues too. So here's our first chorus. I'll take it kind of slow. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's that 5th. That's our first chorus of blues. You noticed hopefully we had lots of that 1, 6, 2, 5 happening in the second half of the song. Alright, our second chorus of blues, I wrote out something that I ordinarily would never write out, but I wanted you to see it. It's this little pull-off. I'm sure you've noticed me doing it in the last chorus and probably in some of my other examples. Sometimes I'll play a bass note and then kind of lightly pull off to the open string. Again, this isn't something you have to wait to be notated. You can just do it when you feel what it is. That's something that's idiomatic bass players do. And I might have written this example differently had I talked to a friend of mine first who was a bass player, and I said, why do bass players do this? Is there a functional reason why? I mean, it's kind of a nice rhythmic variation, a little hop or a little gallop to the line every once in a while. And he said, well, sometimes we do it. And of course, remember, basses, especially upright basses, have a big distance between one, like say here and here. So sometimes it's there to help accommodate a large leap. I don't always use it in this way in my example, but still you get the idea. So let's start with example 2 here, our second chorus. Not much different here. I'm going to go higher up the neck. You can go pretty high with your walking bass lines, as long as you stay on the lower strings. I don't like to go above my 5th string. Sometimes I'll hit a 4th string, but I don't like to do that too often. I think once you get up in this range, it doesn't sound too bassy, but you can go awfully high, and because the string's fat, still remain with that illusion that you're playing bass notes. And one last thing, I'm going to end this, instead of playing the turnaround, I'm going to end with that little ending right there. So here is our second chorus of blues. Nice and slow. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here comes the ending. Okay. That ending, by the way, is basically a major scale. We skip the second degree. If we, instead of going down to the third, let's go up to the third. We're not going to play the second, then we're going to play the third, the fourth. We're going to put in a passing tone, and then from there on in, you're just going to play the rest of the major scale. So you go to the third, passing tone, and you. What happens more often than not, though, is you go down to the third. And that's a great ending, not only for jazz tunes, but also for regular blues tunes. So let me see if I can play you both examples a little faster here. And here it is. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Second chorus. Ending coming up. All right, thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this one. We're going to be talking next time about how to do some independent rhythms. Mostly I've just been improvising these rhythms, but probably I should be practicing them more, and I'll show you what I do to practice the rhythms, the different rhythms that I play with my index, middle, and ring fingers on top. And then we'll be doing some maybe some walking bass lines in 3, and beyond that we'll see where we go. Thanks so much. Hope to see you next time.